Greetings everyone and welcome back to another in-depth phone review. Today we are having a look at the world's first 5G rugged gaming phone manufactured by Blackview, and it's called the BL5000, which sounds like it's something out of the Terminator franchise or a Nokia battery. But anyways, I have reviewed one of their earlier phones on this channel a while ago, a long time ago, and that is carded just at the top here. If you want to go watch that first, feel free. So I have to give a massive thank you to Blackview for sending this phone out to me for review. I really do appreciate it as always, and thank you also for your understanding with me taking my 2-week hiatus. I hope I can deliver a very in-depth review with this phone. Now, since I do go very in-depth with my videos, there are timestamps in the description below, as well as the pinned comment to skip to wherever you need to be. They should also appear as chapters, but I'm not too sure if YouTube will integrate them or not, but we'll just have to see when this video comes out. Now, I know the duration of these videos can be a bit much at times, going over for more than an hour for the most part, but covering everything I can on a phone does take up a lot of time, but I will try my best to shorten parts down wherever I can, and since this is a gaming phone, I really want to focus more on its performance as well as its durability. If this phone does interest you, there are links down in the description below. They are not affiliate links, so I won't earn anything if you go there and purchase the phone, or even if you just want to have a look at it. It's just down there for your convenience. I'm also not being paid by Blackview for this review. They've just sent the sample out for me to review, and all opinions within this video are my own. The Blackview BL5000 can be found on Blackview's own website, or it can be also purchased on AliExpress, which is where I'll be basing current pricing as well as the advertising for this phone on, and as I mentioned just before, both links are in the description. You can get the phone in 3 different colours: Phantom Black, Flame Orange, and Aurora Green. At this point in time, I'm not sure which colour I got, but just in the standard package, that comes to a total of $392.97 Australian, which I will display the currency conversion chart on screen for you all. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. Now, as I mentioned, I'm not sure which colour I got, but each of the 3 colorways does look pretty cool with the different accents on the phone, and the phone does look pretty cool just from the first few pictures of it. It kind of reminds me of one of Xiaomi's Black Shark phones. Someone will let me know down in the comments. You can also get the phone in a bundle with either one of Blackview's smartwatches or a pair of Blackview's wireless earphones, and that will bump the price up to about $460 Australian, which I'll also display the currency conversion chart on screen for you all. Once again, feel free to pause the video if you need to. There's also options to pick which version of the phone you get. There's a Russian area version, European Union version, and other area version. I'm fairly sure I got the other area version, which should be the main version, I guess. I don't think there's a difference, honestly, as all the specs are the same regardless. Now, the first Blackview phone I looked at on the channel was a very low-end one. This time we've got something more premium from them, and honestly, I can't wait to take a look to see what this can do. But however, let's first jump into the specifications of the BL5000 and get an idea of what's inside this rugged gaming phone. The model is the Blackview BL5000 and should be in the standard package. The front of the phone is glass and is protected by Gorilla Glass 5. The frame and back of the phone is made of rubber. It is both IP68 and IP69K certified, as well as being military standard 810 compliant, and according to Blackview, this will pretty much survive in any environment, but I'll test what I can in the durability test later on. The dimensions of the device are also on screen, and the weight of this phone comes in at 273 grams. The processor is the MediaTek Dimensity 700, or the MT6833. It is an octa-core processor and is based on a 7nm manufacturing process, and it also has an ARM G57 MC2 GPU on board. Now, I know that you've heard the word MediaTek and immediately you think, oh no, MediaTek, because on this channel we've featured a lot of phones with terrible MediaTek processors. However, this one is a Dimensity 700, which is going close to the higher end of MediaTek processors. The RAM configuration sits at a comfortable 8GB. The storage is 128GB and does not have support for a microSD card. Since this is a gaming phone, I would have liked to have had the option to expand the storage if you are planning on playing a lot of games or, you know, having a bunch of emulators on here, but unfortunately, you're just stuck with the 128GB on board. The display is a 6.36-inch 1080 by 2300 19:9 aspect ratio IPS LCD, and is also a hole punch display with the 16-megapixel front camera located at the top left of the display. It does not have a high refresh rate. It is only just a standard 60Hz screen, which for a gaming phone, I thought they may have included at least 90Hz, but it is what it is. Now, even though it shows 3 cameras on the back of the phone in the advertising, the official specs only show that we have dual rear cameras, which consists of a 12-megapixel main camera and a 16-megapixel 125-degree wide-angle camera. From what I can tell, the third one appears to be just a macro camera, but we will take a look at that soon. The back also contains the LED flash, and as far as I can tell at this point in time, there is no optical image stabilization on the main camera or the ultra-wide camera. The front camera is a 16-megapixel one. The battery is rated at 4,980 mAh and supports 30-watt fast charging. The OS is Android 11, and in the advertising, it does say that it's pure stock Android, but Blackview Blackview has put their own touch on this, and it's called Doki OS 2.1. Doke? I'm not too sure how it's pronounced, sorry. Which I guess is sort of like what OnePlus does with their phones and Oxygen OS. It's basically stock Android, but they've just put a couple of things on top to make it their own. Our connectivity options are listed on screen. We do have NFC, we do have an FM radio, we also have USB Type-C. There's a side-mounted fingerprint sensor, which is good. Unfortunately though, there is no headphone jack on this phone. And there's also an RGB light on the back of the phone. It's not classed as a gaming device unless it has RGB included in some shape or form. Network-wise, this should support most major networks around the world, and the band list is displayed on screen. This supports 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G networks, but please make sure you check with your network providers to make sure your country supports these bands. The SIM card tray will have the option to install 2 nano SIMs with dual 5G standby. I'll be testing this with my normal Telstra SIM, and hopefully I pick up 5G here. In the box, we get the phone itself, a power adapter, which should be the 30-watt fast charger, a USB Type-C cable, which is right-angled. This also should include the quick start guide and a warranty guide inside of the box. I'd say warranty-wise with this, you'd get a 1-year online warranty from Blackview themselves. The spec sheet from the listing on AliExpress is shown on screen also. This is pretty much everything I've already been over, and this is where it mentions the macro camera, and that's the only instance I see of it. That's pretty much all of the specs in detail for this 400 Australian dollar rugged gaming phone. So let's now move on to the advertising for this, and take a look at some of the features this has, and I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. If I'm taking a long time with this, which I usually do, feel free to use the timestamps to jump forward. The first block of advertising just says that it has top-notch hardware, military-grade toughness, and industry-leading waterproof performance. It also shows our processor, the 8GB of RAM, as well as MediaTek Hyper Engine, which I'm not too sure what that is. And there is also a little comparison chart between 7nm and 8nm, and as well as the storage using UFS 2.2. The next one shows full sense tickled game immersion. Take that how you will. Pleasing game visuals, immersive vision of the game role. Is that Genshin Impact on the screen there? I'm actually not too sure. But it just confirms the resolution of the screen, the RGB light that's on the back of it, and the Gorilla Glass 5 protection. Strong game sound, feel immersive sound. The 1217 super linear speaker combined with 0.9cc equivalent speaker chamber produces smart PA large volume of wide range. Also to note in this picture, even though it does say that it's only got one speaker, it makes it seem like it's got dual loudspeakers, and I can confirm at this point in time there is only one single loudspeaker in this phone, and of course the earpiece speaker, but that does not double as a secondary speaker. And then also it shows that it does have a cooling system built into this, which will be very interesting to check out once we tear this phone down. Pro gaming system playing without distraction, based on Android 11, the all-new Doki OS, it's something like that. Operating system combines the best of mobile and gaming features to deliver the most professional gaming experience. The phone does show these two little areas, one's red and one is blue. Does this mean that it has capacitive shoulder buttons on it? I wonder if it does. Well, there's only one way to find out when we get to unboxing this. The user interface is game featured, there's dedicated gaming modes, and we can play hundreds of popular large-scale 3D games effortlessly. 30-watt fast charging, an L-shaped charging cable back to power in no time. Only 10 minutes can refill the BL5000's battery up to 22%, and you are ready for the game re-combat very quickly. As always with my reviews, I'll test the battery standby and the speed of the fast charging. Combat emotional destruction, get the most out of game thrills and emotion venting. Damage proof in a rage of game loss. It's also resistant to your wife's impulse mistake, so you can throw the phone across the river and your wife can dump it in a bowl of water and it will survive. Being a Blackview device, we know that it's going to be pretty good in the durability department, but if you throw this phone from losing in a game of, let's say, Call of Duty and it breaks, is it covered under warranty? That is a very good question. Camera. Take photography to a whole new level. It's got the 3 cameras on the back, but we know 2 of the cameras already, just the third one is a mystery at the moment. Once again, another picture just detailing the 16 megapixel ultra wide camera, as well as the Sony 12 megapixel rear camera. Other small features that make a big deal, and more highlights of the Doki OS 2.1, there's a system manager, multiple theme wallpapers, and a drop-down springback for more intuitive response. More details about the camera features, the Samsung 16 megapixel front camera with Samsung's tetracell technology. I've never heard of tetracell technology before. I've probably missed it somewhere along the lines, but supposedly it enhances the image quality for the front camera. We do have HDR 2.0 as well as night mode 2.0, which means that our photos should look pretty good, even though the image before and after is just exactly the same image and they've just brightened it up, but that's okay. We've also got portrait color and underwater mode. Your perfect traveling mate, and then behind that it says partner. So it's used in a bunch of different scenarios, like being mounted on a bike, 2 good mates having a good time playing some games, sitting by the campfire watching videos, I guess. Taking a video of your mate on a motorbike, having a break while climbing a mountain and just seeing what the time is, and finally playing some sort of racing game, which I'm not too sure what that is. We do once again have the band list on screen, which is pretty much everything that I've covered earlier. It also has an air pressure sensor and NFC built in. Finally, we just have the three colorways, Phantom Black, Flame Orange, and Aurora Green. As I said, I'm not too sure which color I've got. And that's it. That's the complete advertising on AliExpress for the Blackview BL5000. The question is this $400 rugged gaming phone going to be worth it? Let's unbox it and start taking an in-depth look at it. This took 3 days to arrive from China to Australia via DHL, which is pretty good. Slicing along the top, I think there's another cardboard box in here. There's probably going to be 2 boxes. I think I've possibly opened it the wrong way, but that's okay. There we go. Nice clean white box. That was a bit of an effort to get that out of the box, but anyways, here we have the Blackview with bricks, which was on the BV5500 Pro, I believe. Just around the sides, we've got Blackview in a shimmery, shiny font, which is always nice. The box is also textured, which gives it a nice little premium feel. Got a QR code on the side there, Blackview on the other side, and on the back, I did receive the flame orange color, which is going to be pretty cool. The IMEI info and serial number is on the back here, as well as the quick specifications for the BL5000, which we've already been over. Still no mention of the third camera though. Let's go ahead and open the box and take a look at what we have. And there it is. No travel adapter included, but that's alright. We have the hefty phone itself. That does have a bit of weight to it. Whew. We do have the right-angled USB Type-C cable, which both ends are Type-C, and it's about, how long is it? About 1.5 meters long, which is not too bad. We do have Blackview's 33 watt fast charging. Okay, it said 30 watts in the listing, but there you go. It is 33 watts and does have a bit of weight to it. We have the Type-C port on top there. But yeah, unfortunately, it is a European adapter. I'm not too sure if they actually have Australian adapters or not, but I will use this for the fast charging test. Also do get the quick start guide, which is exactly what you would expect. It's English and then goes straight into Russian and then other languages. No warranty information, nope, but we do have this cool nifty looking SIM eject tool here, which does have like a little bit of a lip there to sort of, if you're like me and don't have any fingernails, you can use this little tool to just pop it open. Taking the plastic off the phone, which has 5G, the display, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, the almost 5000 mAh battery, and once again the camera configuration. But I'll peel this off just so we can get a nice look at the included screen protector, which unfortunately they kind of missed a spot and there's a bit of dust under there, but that's okay. I will be taking the screen protector off before the durability test so it doesn't have that little bit of extra protection when we drop it. The orange lip that goes around the phone as well as the screen are completely flat, so if I drop this straight down, I have a feeling that the glass is going to crack. But on the bottom we have 2 speaker grills, but there's only one populated. The USB Type-C charging port is protected by this little flap, and the USB Type-C port is actually fairly deep within the phone because the housing is quite thick, and it appears that the flame orange color goes all the way into the phone as well, which is kind of nice. On the side we have our fingerprint scanner, which doubles as a power button, as well as our volume rockers just there. On the top we have absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Just plain. And on the other side we do have our SIM card tray, which if we just pop this out, this is why this tool comes with 2 ends, because you need one to pop off there and the second one to then put that into there like so, to then grab the other end and pull our SIM tray out, which has support for 2 nano SIMs at dual 5G standby, as I mentioned over in the specifications. There's no rubber ring around this, considering that it's fairly deep into the frame of the phone, and with this door also protecting it, it's pretty much already secure enough. And also in the advertisement, those 2 little areas that look like shoulder buttons, well, there's nothing there. Nothing there. So I have a feeling they're likely not implemented, and I'm just assuming that they have shoulder buttons, but we'll test in gaming to see if anything comes up. On the back of the phone is where things get really interesting. Here's our triple camera setup, and having a look at the cameras though, I'm not too sure about this camera here. Looks a little bit suspicious to me, but we will see during the teardown. We've also got the RGB light just there, which is also the NFC logo. We've also got 5G and Blackview just printed on this. Well, is it glass? Yes, it is. So this piece is glass, that's plastic, This is glass, and the entire body of the phone is made of rubber. I've loaded my Telstra SIM and a Vodafone SIM into this to see if I get dual 5G. I have a feeling I won't. I know the Telstra SIM can pick up 5G, but I don't think this Vodafone one can. And just quickly with the front of the phone, you can't really see it as of yet, but we don't have a notch or anything like that. We do have a fairly thick bezel going around the screen. It's not too bad though. We've also got our 16 megapixel front camera just there, speaker grill, and our sensors. Powering on the BL5000. Hopefully it's alive. No noise on startup. Is there going to be setup, or are we going to just jump straight into Android? We have setup. So now that we actually have something on the screen, you can see the bezels a little bit better. We do have a bit of a chin, pretty reasonable side bezels, as well as the top bezel, but honestly, it doesn't look too bad at all. Compared to the AGM M3 that I did look at previously, which you can also watch up here, it's carded, should pop up somewhere, that had a pretty low-end display, whereas this does look like a gaming phone as well as being a rugged phone. Also, we only have HD and HD at the top, not 4G, 4G, or 5G, 5G, just HD, HD. Okay, but we have 5G, which 5G didn't pop up for the OnePlus 9 Pro, the Nord CE. It popped up on the Nord CE before the update, but this is picking up 5G no problems. I'm not sure if that's for the Telstra SIM or the Vodafone SIM. We'll have to jump into settings and take a look. Let's set up the fingerprint sensor while we're here. With just this tiny little area of my thumb, let's see if it picks it up. And it does. Okay, all done. Now the system navigation, we can choose gestures or 3 buttons. I'm going to choose 3 buttons for now, but I will show you the gestures later on during this video. And that's it. We've booted up. Here we are. So with the fingerprint sensor doubling as the power button, if we just lock it and then press it, it should just unlock. There we go. So that's nice and fast, even though I'm using a little tiny bit of my thumb. Works perfectly fine. Now before I go over the system, I just want to note how hefty this device is. Like holding this in my hand, it feels sturdy and quite premium. And pretty much at this point in time with its build quality, it's like the Doogee S86. It's just like a tank. So hopefully it does hold up when I do the durability test. So I've got this pretty cool cyber theme going on here, which does look pretty nice. I've got a Google widget at the top, and yeah, the icons have this like little sort of cyber thing going on, even though the phone's orange and it's got, it doesn't matter, it's fine, it looks good. Scrolling up to have a look at the applications though, we have games installed by default. We've got Asphalt Nitro, Assistant, Calculator, Calendar, Camera, Child Mode, Chrome, Clock, Cold Room. Not sure what that is, okay. Contacts, Data Migration, Drive, Duo, Files, Fit, FM Radio, Game Mode, Gmail, Google, Google Play Services, Keep Notes, Majestic, Quest, let's just say that. Maps, MC, Rebel, Gang. Messages, Note, Opera, Photos, Play Store, Real Football, Settings, Sim Toolkit, SongPop, Sound Recorder, System Management, Telephone, Toolbag, Translate, User Guide, Videos, Wireless Emergency Alerts, WPS Office, YouTube, and YouTube Music. So for something that's supposed to be pure stock Android 11, they've installed quite a bit on top of this. But obviously within this video, I'm going to have to try the pre-installed games to see what they're like. Scrolling down at the top, we do have our notification shade with Wi-Fi, mobile data, Bluetooth, torch. Let's try the torch. Yeah, that's fairly good. That's not too bad. Also, the RGB light hasn't kicked in yet. There's probably going to be a setting for that. Screen portrait, airplane mode, location, do not disturb, hotspot, battery saver, screen record, night light, which will make the display nice and warm. Yes, it does. Screencast, underwater, dark theme, which will make everything dark, but I'll keep it light. NFC, data saver, bedtime mode, nearby share, and one hand mode, which will make everything smaller, so then you can use it as a one-handed device if you want to. Trying NFC out. Yep, NFC is located right there, like it says. Also swiping along, you do get a folder for games and a couple of these shortcuts, just like so, or you can swipe up to see everything there. So let's see if we can change the theme. So we'll go Home Settings, which I'll just leave all them for now. Widgets is going to be all of the usual widgets like so. All of the stock Android ones, all good there. The wallpapers though, we do have the one that's pre-applied. We do have this pretty cool blue cyber one, and Christmas lights. Let's stick with this, and we'll apply to screen lock and desktop. There we go. That looks nice. So now let's jump into settings and go through this. I'll try and be as quick as I can with this, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of features that we need to go over. But once again, feel free to use the timestamps if you need to. So I've got Wi-Fi that should detect both my 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz networks, which it does. Bluetooth, SIM cards and traffic management, which I've just checked, and Telstra Mobile is the one picking up 5G. Vodafone is not picking up 5G, it's just 4G. Options for VO LTE are also within the settings for each SIM card, as well as the preferred network type. So at this point in time, I'm going to give the Telstra SIM a call and see how it sounds. The default ringtone is...
Testing the call quality on the Blackview BL5000. This is the earpiece, and this should be at 5G, I believe. Hope it sounds clear enough. And the microphone quality on the BL5000 sounds a little something like this. I hope it sounds decent enough. I was going to try the Vodafone SIM, but the Telstra SIM picks up 5G, so I figured I'd just stick with Telstra.
So calling the Telstra SIM card, 5G does stay on at the top, and the earpiece quality and the mic quality are not too bad. Even though what you heard just before with the call quality test, because I use my microphone, it picks up all the interference and stuff. But even with that, it does sound okay, but it's not sort of the best quality that I've heard. Other wireless connection just has NFC, hotspot, all that sort of stuff here. That's all good. In display, we have all the usual settings. We have desktop drawer mode. I guess we'll just leave that. Display size is just regular, we'll leave that. Breathing light is probably gonna be the RGB light, but it's not on at the moment. Maybe we've got to plug a charger in it to actually get it to work. There we go. So plugging the charger in, we do get the RGB light to come on, but it's only just one color. But there is a notification LED built up at the top, which is actually kind of nice to see. We do have options for screen recording, screensaver, head up. What is head up? Does it do anything? I'm not too sure. Okay, well, that's head up. Color temperature and screen optimization, we'll just leave all that as default. Real-time network speed, if you want to switch that on. We have hide the fringe. Not hide the fringe after hiding the status bar is inside the fringe. Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, you want full screen, I'd just leave it as that. Marquee. During charging, the marquee keeps on. The marquee flickers when you receive a call notification. I'm just trying to work out if we can keep the RGB light on all the time, or if it's only on when you have certain features going. Personalization, we have the wallpapers, which we've already been over, and theme, we have default or racing blue, which racing blue is just basically looking more like stock Android, and the icons are a little bit more simplified, but I'm going to keep it to the theme that's already applied. All the usual options that you'd find within sounds, and we do have sound enhancement, which there's no best order in here. Even though there's a MediaTek processor in this, there's no best order and best loudness. Maybe they've got rid of it on Android 11. Sad to see them go. But it's now replaced with hi-fi mode. Gestures and keys has gesture motion, which you can use a bunch of shortcuts by turning the phone over to silence it, or using 3 fingers to do a screenshot. Let's actually just quickly try that. Oh, that didn't work. There we go. We have the virtual keys and gesture navigation, which, as I said during setup, that I try, and once again, I'm just not used to navigation, but it is here if you want to use it, and it makes more sense than the AGM H3, where the screen had this much sort of a chin, whereas this is much more easier to manage. Well, not that I can use navigation anyways on Android. Within apps and notifications, we do have all of the usual settings within here, but if we go to see all applications and show system, there's going to be a very, very long list here. I'm just going to scroll through this, and if you do see anything, feel free to let me know, but I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stuff installed on here because of what we've already seen so far with the included games and toolbox and all that sort of thing, but I'll just scroll through it. that's the application list. There's a lot of stuff installed. I'm kind of on the verge of saying that there is bloatware installed because there are quite a lot of applications installed by Blackview, but luckily you can go ahead and uninstall the games if you want to anyways. Moving to security, our security patch is 5th of June 2021. We do have face unlock, which pretty much will take a picture of my face and then unlock the phone, but we'll try it out. There we go. Took a little while. There we go. Nothing to note in privacy and location. Battery though, it does show we've got 91% left. Battery saver is off, and I will leave this off during the testing of this phone, which I'll now splice in how the standby test went and how fast charging went. Okay, so it's been a few days. I've tested out the battery life as well as the charging speed. Battery life, we got 92 hours. It dropped from 95% to 44%, which honestly isn't too bad. That was also tested with Wi-Fi on, both SIM cards in the phone, one running at 5G and the other at 4G. So you should be able to get a day plus a little bit more of pretty decent usage out of this before you'll need to charge it again. And as for the charging speed, I'll display it all on screen here. At 6:26 PM, it was at 44%. Then at 6:40 PM, it was at 65%. Then at 7:08 PM, it was at 90%. And then it reached its full 100% at 7:30 PM. So it took 1 hour to charge the Blackview BL5000 to 100% from 44%. So the claims in the advertisement are a bit correct, but once it sort of got to about 80%, it started to slow down a little bit. That's likely due to some battery saving features, but otherwise, battery test and standby test, pretty good on this one. Storage wise, 128 gig, 10.31 gigs is already used up by the system, as well as the default pre-installed applications. Accessibility has everything you would want to see in accessibility. If you need to use any of these, feel free. Digital wellbeing and parental controls if you need to use them. Accounts, I'll add a Gmail soon. Google will have all the usual Google stuff in it. System, most of the usual options in here, but we do have a RAM fast startup acceleration. Improve the efficiency of memory utilization according to your usage habits. Let's just put that on. We do have options for a system update, and we have an option for a local system upgrade. So you can download the file from Blackview, put it onto the internal storage and upgrade the system, but we will connect to Wi-Fi and check to see if we get any updates. But going to About Phone, this looks very Oppo. I'm fairly sure this is lifted directly from Oppo actually, but we do have all these specifications listed, the build number. In status, it does show the IMEI, the serial number, as well as the configuration with networks. Processor just says 8 core. And can we do anything with these? No? All good. We can check the security patch level, which is 5th of June 2021, but the Android version is 11, which we can trigger the Easter egg. Well, let me go ahead and connect to Wi-Fi and we'll check for a system update. I can also say that the vibration motor in this is pretty strong, so that's all good. And of course, Gboard is the standard keyboard. Checking for updates though. We don't have anything, unfortunately. We're up to date. Well, at this point in time, I want to jump into the cameras because I want to investigate this third camera that we just don't know what it is yet. So let's open camera. And there we go. There it is there. Autofocus, obviously. Yes. If we go to more, we have portrait, portrait color, and pro mode. We've got beauty mode, picture with the 2x zoom, and ultra wide, which does kick in, which is all good. Yep, 1080p. Oh, we can record at 2K. It's better than 1080p, I guess. But I think we're stuck to 30 FPS. We also have night mode as well, which I'll test that. In settings, the video quality can be changed, yep, to 2K, Full HD or HD. EIS we can switch on. I think I'll have that on. In picture settings, all looks quite normal. We can put the watermark on, which I will put that on just to make sure that you know that the photos are coming from the Blackview BL5000. Portrait? Maybe it's a portrait camera. I'm actually not too sure. And switching to the front camera, we've got a 2x zoom on the front camera. Do we have autofocus? We don't have autofocus on the front camera. The front camera does offer EIS, which I'll switch on. We can also do night mode on the front camera as well, which I'll test. And we can do a portrait mode on the front camera. We also have portrait color, which puts everything in black and white, except you're in color, which is kind of cool, I guess. But once again, I'll test that all out. I'm not seeing anything for this third camera though. But let me go ahead and take some photos and videos with this, but we will come back, check the camera quality, and see if we can find out what this third camera does. Maybe it is a 2 megapixel depth one after all. Who knows at this point in time. But we will be right back. Okay, testing the camera quality of the Blackview BL5000. This is in 1080p 30fps with HDR on and EIS on. EIS doesn't appear to be on. I mean, it's actually not too bad. But if we zoom into the froggos, like so, not a lot of focus going on. Well, it doesn't look too bad. It's kind of a little close sort of thing. It's a very bright, sunny, and warm day. It's actually quite a nice day. It's the first day of spring actually, so that's pretty cool. And the flowers are looking a little something like that. The 3 Muppets as per usual, nothing changes with these ones. I mean, there's a little bit of stabilization going on. A little bit. If I turned EIS off, it'd probably be exactly the same thing. Sure, it looks a little something like that. So he's just chilling. He's cool. The lemon tree, close up, got some lemons that are rotting away because I don't eat them, sadly. I know I should, but I don't. And the faraway aircon, this is with a 10 times digital zoom right there. And oh god, that's shaky. You can see Breeze there. I think you can almost make out Panasonic on there as well. But there you go. That's what it's looking like in 1080p. Now at 2K resolution with HDR on and EIS on, it looks a little something like this. It looks pretty much exactly the same. If anything, it's gotten a little bit laggy, but apart from that, it's looking pretty much the same. I mean, I see no difference on the 1080p display, but when we look back at the video quality, we might see a little bit of difference. It's probably going to be a higher bit rate, but that's about it. Muppet, Muppet, Muppet. Nothing changes here. Is this mode more stabilized? I'm not too sure. I don't think it is. Anyways, brick wall, random bolts, where are they? There they are. And then down to Stuart, looks the same in 2K. Lemon tree, in all of its glory. Give it like 3 months and it'll be back to the overgrown state it was in. And faraway aircon with the 10 times zoom looks like that. Filming in ultra wide mode at 2K, you can film in 2 times zoom, ultra wide, and standard in 2K. But this is what it looks like. Not a lot of distortion going on, honestly. You can see my finger just at the corner there, sorry. And this is still with HDR on and EIS on as well. But this is definitely a very wide angle lens, the 125 degree angle it said, which is correct. That's pretty much, I mean, look, you can even see how close the frogs are to the 3 Muppets. There you go. I mean, this isn't actually too bad. There's not a lot of distortion, as I said. We don't have autofocus in ultra-wide mode, though. 2 times zoom mode in 2K with EIS and HDR on. It's just exactly the same as normal mode. Instead, we've got the 2 times zoom on, and that's looking a little something like that. Oh shit, that's a little too much. There we go. She's shifty. Yes, shifty. Testing the front camera for the Blackview BL5000. This is with HDR on and EIS on, and it's not too bad. I can't really complain. It's tracking my face, which is good. There's no autofocus, as I said during the whole little camera bit. Trying to hold it a little bit steady to see the EIS kicking in, and it's not too bad. 2 times zoom's looking a little something like this. And we're back. So how was the camera quality overall? Well, we kinda need to talk about that. The rear main sensor photo-wise, not bad. HDR was automatically on for most photos, and I did honestly get some fairly reasonable shots. Well, sort of. The ultra-wide camera has no autofocus and is fixed, but that also didn't do too bad in the photo department either, and that's definitely a fairly wide-angle lens that they've put on here, so that's good. However, that third camera, I still have no idea what it's for, because the portrait mode is virtual, and as you can see on screen, this is what portrait mode looks like. So Froggo is clearly visible, and the background is blurred. However, this is actually just software, because it's trying to work out which is the background and which is the object you want to have the effect with. However, the portrait mode on the front camera is exactly the same. It's software, but that seems to work fine, and it's done a pretty good job of capturing me with a bit of a blurred background. Look at that smug face on me, well done me. And the color portrait mode also worked as well. That wasn't a problem, but it seems to work better. The virtual portrait mode is much better on the front camera than it is on the rear camera. Another example here is of the flowers. that I was trying to do a portrait mode with, and the software picked up this area was the area to have as the main object and the rest to blur out. So it didn't really work that well. Now I also tried something else. I covered up this camera. This one appears to be the one that we just don't know what it does yet, and I was still able to do depth effects, and all the normal photos turned out fine. Even going back outside and covering up that bottom camera and trying to do the depth effects. Here's Stuart with the color portrait mode on, and you can see that it sort of didn't pick up there, but the software picked up everything else and made it black and white. Now, if you do remember in my Blackview BV5500 Pro video, there was a second camera in there, but it turned out to be just a dud one and didn't do absolutely anything. It was just a little tiny flex ribbon with no sensor on it. And I have a slight feeling that this may be the case here again with this, which is a bit unfortunate. I can't confirm anything at the moment until I get to the teardown. As I mentioned, HDR was automatically on for most shots, and I did get some reasonable shots out of this. Night mode, though, kind of works. Even on the front camera, you can just oh, you can't even see me there. But in the photo test, you would have seen this properly. I mean, it's nothing special, and you do get more with the LED flash on, the same scenario we had with the AGM H3. However, this is what it is. It works. Night mode does work on both the front and rear camera. Night mode, nothing. LED flash. It is what it is. Blackview did say that it's got HDR 2.0 and night mode 2.0, and HDR, as I said, does work, and night mode does work, but it's nothing really exciting. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to point out the watermark that's on these photos. There's the 3 cameras there, but we've got 2 of them as being cameras, but this one is a fan? Something? No idea. So I'm still leaning towards that third camera being a dud, which is unfortunate on a $400 phone, but as I said, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions until I tear it down. As for the video quality, 720p on the front camera, which I would have thought it was 1080p, but nope, it's 720p. No autofocus or anything, fairly basic for video on the front camera. The rear cameras for video though, both 1080p and 1440p, or 2K as it's called, look exactly the same and have the exact same bitrate. It just seems like 1080p gets virtually bumped up to 2K through software. If you've seen a difference between 1080p and 1440p, let me know, but looking back over them, I honestly don't see a difference. Ultra-wide video quality wasn't bad, with barely any distortion going on. Once again, same bitrate, but no autofocus on that. I also done a test with EIS on and off, and there's no difference once again, that'll look the same. And then testing HDR video on and off, also looks the same, no difference there either. Also, I experienced a bit of battery drain going on while using the cameras, and I could feel the phone getting quite warm around the back. It was probably about a 15% drain from about 20 minutes of messing around with the cameras and getting all the footage needed. When we try gaming, we'll see how the battery goes. But as I mentioned earlier, the standby test with the battery is fine, so it could have just been a one-off, I'm not too sure. But honestly though, with the cameras, I think if you installed a third-party camera application, you may be able to push more out of the cameras, but just stock, they just aren't really that great. The front camera will do as it is, but the rear cameras and the video quality are just a bit of a letdown, especially for the price of this phone, as I've already mentioned. For the people that do end up purchasing this phone, it'll be more than enough, it'll be fine. But it's just not meant to have flagship cameras, but Blackview did advertise them as being a bit better than they were, but in the end they are just fairly average. But anyways, we still have to test the raw performance of this as well as its durability, so let's continue on with this review and take a look at it all. At this point in time, I've also added my Gmail onto this, and I have installed my own games as well as like Antutu, Geekbench and DeviceInfoHW. But even with all of these applications installed at the moment, the phone still feels pretty snappy. With its 8GB of RAM and the processor that's in this, it should continue being reasonably snappy, but this is just sort of looking around in the OS itself, nothing special here. It's when we get to the games that we'll actually see the performance. But I will go through some of the applications that are pre-installed on the phone. We're not going to be checking like calendar and calculator and stuff, but just the ones that I think are a bit important to check. And the first one is child mode, because you can give this phone to a kid if you want. I mean, if your child is continuously dropping a phone and they need a rugged device, might be a good option, but they've included child mode on here. Or if you do buy this phone and your kids just get your hands on it and want to start playing around with stuff, you can have a password and there you go. But we do have Chrome next, so we can test the browser performance. But as I said, 8GB of RAM on this and the MediaTek Dimensity 700 octa-core. It's got a pretty good configuration, and opening up Chrome, the default website is actually Blackview's website. So I guess we can just have a look at the phone on Blackview's website. There it is there for $499.99. So is it more expensive on their own site than AliExpress? Because I just checked before, and it's $390 Australian on AliExpress, but now it's $499.99. I'm not sure if that's Australian or US. That's a bit strange. I'm going to have to really check. Using Google Chrome to check the internet and do whatever you need to do, you're not going to have any problems on this phone. And just scrolling through here seems to be all good. We can also check Opera as well, that's pre-installed on here. They decided to install a second browser, so we can check that out and see the specs on Blackview's website. We'll have a look at the cameras. There it is there. We only have the 2 listed, but the third one, nothing. So as I said, got to tear this thing down to get a better look. Also, I've tried messing around with the RGB light, and it just sort of switches on when it wants to. When you charge it, it pops up, but it only just stays blue. I haven't seen it change another colour, so when we try games, we'll check to see if it's changing colours or not. See? Comes on now. But yeah, it will just, breathe. That's it. We have Cold Room up next, which is a cold frozen apps. So if I enable this and do, let's say, WPS Office, and then now come to WPS Office, oh, it's gone. So that's all Cold Room does, is just, let's go back to it and see if it's there. There it is. So Cold Room just disables applications and prevents you from opening them. That's it. I thought it would have been something to do with the environment. Like if this was going to be in a sub-0 degree room or something like that, and you wanted to have an application on and the touchscreen wasn't working because of being freezing cold, you could use this. But no, obviously I'm wrong. It just does that. There you go. Data migration, so you can switch from one device to the other. I'm not sure how well this would work. This could also be, from the looks of it, Google's own data migration service, which I've never used, by the way, so I can't really comment on that. This machine is an old device. It may be Blackview's own one. I'm not too sure. We do have the FM radio, which do we need headphones? Yes, we do. Once again, I'll use my welcome earphones in this to act as an antenna, which is not really good, but that's fine. What's on Australian radio at 9:11 PM on a Wednesday night? Not a lot. Oh, there you go. Sounds like Lady Gaga, I think. It probably does work fine, but I'm using really crappy welcome earphones that I haven't even taken the little cable tie thing off yet. But yes, it does work. It's all good. And you can record audio in the FM radio application. So if you don't have Spotify or anything like that, you can just record the radio and listen to that, if anyone still does that. But anyways, game mode. We have the pre-installed applications, but we will come back to these once we start the gaming test. Now, off camera, I tested maps and the location, and that all seems to be quite fine. But since I don't have any data on my Telstra SIM card, which is 5G, I had to use Wi-Fi, so it was pretty accurate, pretty fast, but I don't think you'll have any problems with that. Let's try Opera, because I haven't used Opera in a long time. Very long time. I don't know how it's going now. We'll just skip. We'll just disallow. Is it Blackview? Oh, well, we've got everything here. We can just go straight to Google. And we can check the BL5000 on AliExpress, and it's $299.99 US. So there you go. But honestly, Opera is not too bad. It kind of feels a little bit more snappier than Chrome. As I said, I haven't used Opera in a while, especially on a mobile phone. I've only used it on those Java phones, and, well, they kind of really didn't work. But this actually feels pretty responsive. I might actually chuck Opera on my main phone just to try it out and see how it goes instead of Google Chrome. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you use Opera on your mobile phone instead of Chrome. It will be interesting to see how many people do. We have SongPop, which I don't know what SongPop 2 is. Okay, they made a second one. Okay, is this something like TikTok or something like that? I have no idea. It's a game, actually. I won't try this. I have no idea what it is, but I will Google this and see what it is. But I've never heard of it before. SongPop 2. Never heard of it. Did it actually come up in game mode? Actually, I'll just check. It did. So it is a game that you have to sign into. We'll have to see what the gameplay footage looks like. System Manager is basically exactly what it does. It'll speed up games or app management or power saving or just one-touch optimizing. Does that. There you go, we're all good. We can turn off developer mode and all that sort of stuff, and you can see that some of the RAM was freed up and everything like that, so just come to that, and it basically closes the background applications, and that's it. Now we do have the Toolbag, which has been on a couple of these rugged phones before, but we do have a compass, which, yep, the sound meter. Yeah, it's fine. Picture hanging, if you want to hang up a picture. Gradienter, which people have explained to me what these are, but I don't remember. Height measure, you could do a height measure to see how tall you are, which is pretty cool. Magnifier, which is basically just using the digital zoom, and it's not auto-focusing in, but you can turn the flash on if you want to, or you can have it to the front camera and go all the way in. Oh god, okay. Well, you can see my camera says SMOOREZ. It's an off-brand Panasonic, alright. Protractor. Haven't used one of these since I was in high school. Plumb bob. Once again, someone told me what this is used for, and I've completely forgotten. Pedometer. Just thought maybe if you do that, it would trigger it, but no. Yep, that's all good. You can have this on if you want to. Torch. We've already tested this, but it does work. And barometer, or barometer? No, it's barometer, is the air pressure sensor, and that's currently what it is. I don't know what any of this means. Someone will tell me in the comments, I'm sure of that. But that's it for Toolbag, which wasn't included on the AGM M3. I honestly think it's quite handy that they include this Toolbag, because if people want to buy a rugged phone, they're likely going to use a lot of these features. So having this pre-installed, in my opinion, is quite good. Moving on, we have a user guide already built on here, which you can check that if you want to. We'll just leave that. We've got videos, wireless emergency alerts, WPS Office, YouTube, and YouTube Music. So I think now's the time that we try the YouTube test, which I reckon is going to be pretty good. There had to be a TikTok ad, didn't there? Of course. So we can run this at 1440p 60 FPS. So we'll choose that. The earpiece is not a secondary loudspeaker. We've only just got the single firing one at the bottom, but this is what it looks like. That's pretty good. Can't complain with that. And I will say the display is fairly nice. It is pretty good. The colours are nice and vibrant. Unlike the AGM M3, that display wasn't really the best, and it looks much nicer. Looks a lot nicer. I mean, it's more expensive, of course, but no, 1440p, 60 FPS, looking really good with this. And that speaker actually doesn't sound too bad, even though we've only got just that single firing one. Let's load up BFG Division and see how loud it is. Also, 5G is still on, it's just that I have Wi-Fi on, so it disables it. There it is there. So that's all good. Now, I've also got that hi-fi mode on as well, so let's go ahead and test BFG Division. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, it just scared me then. Okay, it seems to be super loud. Oof, that's got some kick into it. 105.8 we got to. The AGM M3, even though that had a big speaker, it wasn't exactly the best. This beats it, no problems whatsoever. Even though this is a gaming phone, I would have expected to have a secondary speaker up top as well as a bottom firing speaker, but that bottom firing speaker alone to get to 105.8, and it actually does sound fairly clear. Yeah, you can hear the kicks and everything like that. Still, as I said, for a gaming phone, 2 speakers would have been nice, but the 1 speaker you have to settle on, it is very good for what it is. So before the gaming test, we need to do some benchmarks, as well as just checking out the specs. So I'm going to open up Antutu benchmark first, run the multi-touch test, because I couldn't find anywhere about the multi-touch on this. Probably 10-point multi-touch, I'd say. Yep, 10-point multi-touch. Alright, let's try DeviceInfoHW and see what it says for the third camera, if we can see anything. Pretty much I'm not doubting anything on this except for that third camera. But yet, the display, 1080p at 60Hz. That's it. So for a gaming phone, you would have expected a bit of a higher refresh rate, but unfortunately he's stuck with 60Hz. Camera, we've got the 12 megapixel back, 16 megapixel front, and the 16 megapixel back one, and that's it. So I have a feeling we've got a dud one in there. Let's try Geekbench 5. We'll run this, see how long this takes, and then we'll see what the scores are for this. And the scores are in, 539 for the single core and 1651 for the multi-core. I'm going to compare these to the OnePlus Nord N10 and the OnePlus Nord CE, which are around the same price bracket as this phone. While they're not rugged devices, both do have some advantages over the Blackview BL5000, like the higher refresh rates on the screen. But look, all in all, it is just numbers. And while yes, this is a rugged device, which is good, the Nord N10 and the Nord CE are built fairly well, and both of them were great performers, so they may also be worth considering, but we'll talk about this more during the conclusion. Alright, well at this point in time, we've pretty much checked out everything that we need to. We are just left with games, so let's go ahead and open up game mode, and we'll just play the pre-installed ones like I said, and see how these are, but we've got a clean up RAM button, which cleans the RAM. You can add games into there, which we can add Ark, GTA, Genshin, and PUBG, like so. There they are. Do we have any settings? We do. We just have block notifications and stuff, but nope, nothing else in here. This button, start the diving mode. So is this for diving in water, or is this diving into gaming? let's just leave that off. Alright, let's start with Asphalt Nitro. What is it? Asphalt... Oh, Jesus! Yeah, the speaker's very loud, I forgot. Now, I assume this is all just at the default settings. Yep, there we go. Oh, hello. There we go. Have I tested this before? I'm not sure of how old this game actually is. Hopefully the music is not copyrighted either. Oh, 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 oh. Feels a little bit laggy though. Could be just the game itself, but like it's a little bit choppy sort of thing. Not too bad. But can I change these settings? Oh, skip tutorial. There you go. Did you see the landscape? The houses were just squares. That's fine. Well, yeah, it doesn't run half bad. As I said, a little bit choppy, and I just smashed into a car. Whoops. I don't know if I was supposed to do that or not. I'm used to Need for Speed No Limits, so... Look, this is pre-installed by default. You can uninstall it if you want to. But yep, that's the first game. The next one is this Majestic... It's all Gameloft games, obviously. So, Majestic... What was it? Majestic Quest? Oh god, it's Disney. I didn't realise it was Ariel there. Whoops. Okay. My age is... Let's put my real age. 28. What's this game actually going to be? Is it going to be like a puzzle? The graphics still look kind of nice, though. But get me into the gameplay. Oh god. Yep. Let's go. Good stuff. Jasmine, tell us what we're doing. Just... Okay. So we're repairing a palace by... putting a puzzle together. People play this? I mean, I played a lot of Pokemon Puzzle League back in the day, but this is just, that's fun. That'll be a game to uninstall immediately. Anyways, let's try this modern... Once again, a Gameloft game. Maybe they have some sort of partnership with Gameloft. I'm not too sure. Also, there's a little menu just there. Oh, yep, okay. So a little sort of shortcut menu just there. What was this called again? I've forgotten. Modern Combat Rebel Guns. There you go. Never heard of this before. How does it run? I guess we just... Oh, okay. We just shoot things. Alright, cool. Yep. We're a futuristic soldier guy shooting stuff. Oops. 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 Whoops. Whoops. Sorry. Yep. Yep. Completely meant to do that. This runs fine as well. For a pre-installed game, if you want to just shoot some enemies and walk around and stuff, you could do that. As I said, you can uninstall this if you want to. At least they do give you some games to, you know, play straight out of the box, but I'm sure if you sign into your Gmail, you can go straight onto the Play Store, download whatever you want to on here. But there you go. That's Modern Combat. Forgot what it was already. And then we have Real Football. I have never played soccer, football. No, so I have no idea. My age is 99 today. How do you start this? Okay. Don't know the rules, don't know anything. I'm just going to tap on the screen and hope I can do some stuff. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Go. Tackle. Switch. Run. God, the graph... Are they 2D sprites? I mean, it's a soccer football game. It doesn't have to be that intensive, but... Are they literally sprites? I'm fairly sure they are. They're sprites, man. I don't know how old this game is, but anyways, I'll just do that. Did I do it? Did I get a goal? I did. That's amazing. That's the pre-installed games. As I said, feel free to uninstall them if you do purchase this phone. Actually, I want to double check that. Yes, you can. All is good. Well, after playing those games, I think we should try the ones that I've installed, which will start with San Andreas. Everything's all on maximum. The radio is off. So let's go ahead and give it a go. Now, I usually flip the car in GTA 3. I will try not to flip the car in this one, but let's see how we go. Looking good. Get in a car. Get the taxi. Get the taxi. We want buttons. Whoop, sorry. Well, it's running quite smooth. I just rammed straight to a pole because I wasn't even looking. No, it's smooth. Steering feels a little heavy. It's not usually like this, but no, that's all good. It does have haptic feedback, which is good. Why did I choose the taxi? Ha! Didn't flip. San Andreas is fine. I don't think you'll have a problem with this. It's a fairly old, outdated game by now, but you can still get a heap of fun out of this. But anyways, That's all good. Let's move on to the next game. Now I'm going to play PUBG. Last time I played PUBG, I kind of quit in the middle of a match. I'm going to actually finish a match this time and won't let my teammates down. I suck at this, so I'm going to let my teammates down anyways. That's okay. While this is downloading, is the RGB light doing anything? It's not. Even though the settings are on for it, there's nothing though. If I plugged in the charger, it'd come on. While just testing this out, it will just randomly come on, and then it'll just switch off. But as I said, I've only seen one colour. I've not actually seen it go RGB. Also, can I turn the microphone off so I don't have to speak to anyone? Because I suck at online games, and I don't want them yelling at me. Enter nickname. Let's make sure no one knows it's me. Who's going to honestly know me while playing PUBG? Here's a fun thing you can do. Use the Google Keyboard's predictive text to make a name for you. So, in the future of our games are based on the phone. Or in the future is what I've been called. That's fine. Name is already taken. Alright, in the future, $3459. Don't steal that name, that's my name now. I think I've turned everything off. So let's put the graphics up to Ultra, okay, Ultra HD. Okay, HDR. Okay, it's at HD, Classic. Let's go back to that. Hey, yep. Alright, cool. I hope no one can hear me. Okay, there we go. Let's go. Alright, what do? Let's go find something to pick up, I suppose. There we go, I have something. Well, I mean, yeah, it does work. Well, of course it works. Oh, there we go. Nice. If you can hear me, I'm doing a review on YouTube, so, say hello, if you like. Oh, okay. I'm also looking at the viewfinder to kind of see what I'm trying to... Oh, hello! Oh, okay. Oh, they're on the ground. How many shots can I take? I suck at this, man. I don't even know the firing button. There it is. There we go. I did something. Yay. I'm gonna have to now finish this match off screen. Give me a moment. That was a lengthy battle in PUBG. I died fairly quickly, and then still had no idea what I was doing and just running around in circles. But that's fine. We have to install Google Play Games. Okay. So with Arc, we'll just put the video options to Epic. Resolution, we'll put that up. Yep, apply. Play single player, and see how we go. Oh, the speaker's beefy on this. I must admit, the speaker is very, very good in this. Alright, so this is all at maximum settings. We have Arc. Let's go. Let's just run around and see. Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's not too bad. Can we go punch a dinosaur? Not punch a dinosaur, but we'll just sort of tap him on the shoulder and say hello. We found some dodos instead. They'll do. Hey, fellas. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. This seems fine. Obviously, if you look down, it runs smooth. If you look up, it runs smooth. And then with everything on screen, it does get a little bit laggy. Honestly, was to be expected. As I said, this game doesn't really run sort of super, super smooth. Even on the OnePlus 9 Pro, it wasn't 100% smooth. It was, a bit laggy sort of thing. Oh, is that a dinosaur? Hello, dinosaur. Is that a raptor? Hey, it's a raptor. Oh, hey, buddy. Fight to the death, man. We also have haptic feedback as well. Also. Oh. Take that. I thought I would win that fight, but unfortunately I didn't. So, anyways, that's Ark Survival Evolved. But the main one we need to try out is Genshin Impact, and we need to have a lot of stuff on screen to really push this phone to its limits. And the back of the phone, it's warming up. But opening up Genshin Impact, I've got to sign in and download the 10 gigabytes of data or something like that on there. We'll come back another day, finish the gaming test off, do the durability test, and see how this phone goes. And with Genshin Impact up and running, this is what it's like. This is all on absolute high settings. The default settings were actually set to low. That was a bit strange. I thought it was usually set to medium, but otherwise, I've done the first little sort of quest sort of thing. While it's all on high settings, I've only experienced a little tiny bit of lag, but let's get into an area with some combat and sort of try and see if we can get the phone to sort of lag a little bit. Oh, hello. What is that? Okay, so some combats here, so we'll just do a little something like this. There we go. Someone did tell me that I need to go into a fairly big combat area to test the performance of the game, but with everything on Epic though, I don't think you'll have a problem with this. Even though I'm just walking around, there is a little bit of lag going on, but I'm sure if there was more action on screen, yeah, you'd see a little bit more lag. The low settings are default, so if you want to bump them up to medium or high to get a fairly decent gaming experience, then I'm pretty sure you'll have no problems whatsoever. And that goes with most of the other games I tested. Pretty much, if you set it all up to high, you should be able to play everything, but just bump it down a little bit. Even with everything on max settings with this, it's still more than playable, so this gaming phone does exactly what it's intended to do. Play games with fairly decent performance. So I think with that huge game showcase out of the way, we get a pretty good idea of the gaming performance for this phone. Now, instead of me just throwing this phone and waiting for it to break and calling it a durability test, what I'll do first, I'm going to submerge it in water, see if it's waterproof. I'm fairly sure it will be, there'll be no problems with that. But when it comes to the drop test, I'm going to do 10 drops. So I'm going to give it 10 drops from various different sort of heights, maybe different scenarios, and if it does survive the 10 drops, then it's a winner. If it doesn't survive the 10 drops, that doesn't matter, it was bound to happen anyways. But at this point in time, I'm going to factory reset this phone because I'm pretty sure that I've went over absolutely everything I need to go through. I'll put BFG Division back on here, and we'll see how this phone goes. So, Ripley's going to be joining us today in the durability test. Aren't you? Yes. Now, I kind of have a problem. I don't have a plug, so I'm going to just have to use that instead. No, that's not yours. Look, the ports are all nice and sealed on it. I'll just play BFG Division. Ripley's just going to join us, so I'll just put it in that much of water. That'll do. That's fine. I can't use the touchscreen while it's submerged, but that's okay. Alright. Well, we'll just leave it in there, see how it goes. Ripley's going to just have a good time. I can hear the speaker becoming crackly in it. You want to take it out for me? You can grab it out. This is at max volume, by the way. Yeah, it's got a lot of water trapped in it, but look, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be fine, regardless. You just fell in there. You want to put more water in there, do you? No? Okay. Well, we're going to drown it now. That's it. There you go. Well, it survived. Of course it's going to survive. The speaker, it's definitely got a bit of water in it. It's not sounding too happy. So let me go ahead and dry this off, and we'll now prepare to do the 10 drops. And of course Ripley's going to just stick around. That's fine. Let's just do sort of basic scenarios. Let's just say I drop it off the counter, which is about 4 feet high, straight onto the ground. Let's just say it's... Okay, first drop. I take it out of my pocket and I drop it accidentally. Okay, still all fine. I'll hold it up to 6 feet high and pretend I'm on a call, and then all of a sudden it just slips out of my hands. Still fine, still all good. That was the third drop. So now let's just say I'm cooking something in the oven and I'm wanting to play Need for Speed, and then Ripley bumps into me and it drops and it just falls. There you go. Still all good. Now I've also got the screen protector on. I should have taken that off. So maybe those drops don't count, but let's just now say I've just lost a game of Call of Duty or something like that. I'm now very upset and I decide to throw the phone, not quite aggressively, but just throw it in a way where it's a little bit aggressive. So still all good. Okay, let's just say all my progress in Genshin Impact's now lost. I put 150 hours into it and I've just now lost everything. Still fine. What drop's that? I think we're up to drop 6 now. We need to get a little bit more aggressive. I know this is not everyday scenarios, but it did say in the listing that if you do rage and throw it, it's going to survive, and so far it's putting up a decent fight. But Ripley, do you want to do the next drop? No? Okay. Alright. Let's just say I've won a match of Call of Duty, a really long cooperative match, and I've won, and I'm holding my phone in the air and I decide to drop it. It's still fine. Maybe because I'm on tiles instead of concrete because it is 4 AM. That could also be a thing. But no, it's still all beautiful, pristine, good. There you go. Let's just do a couple more random ones then. 8 feet high. 6 feet high. The back straight down. Screen straight down. This is actually really good. I'm going to do an aggressive throw, so I'm going to purposely throw it really aggressively, and we'll see what happens. If it survives this, then this is a durability champion. It's done. I mean, it's lasted more than the Doogie. The AGM H3 put up a good fight, so will this survive? Here we go. I'd say that would have killed it. Holy! What? Oh, it rebooted. The other Blackview did that. I just threw that with a lot of force straight down. I don't have to say much more. It survived. Even the back glass is perfectly fine, not a problem at all. And I'm going to say that this survives the durability test. The screen is actually almost indestructible. I've dropped it face down, nothing. As I said though, because I'm not outside in the concrete, that may be giving it the advantage right now because I'm dropping it straight on tiles, but still, I'll go straight down. Well, I said that. Maybe water's gotten into it perhaps. Let me hold power. No. Okay, so... Oh, no, there you go. It's still alive. This definitely passes my durability test then. It's definitely a rugged gaming phone, that's for sure, and it's going to survive some aggressive throws. So now I think it's time that we tear this down and have a look at the insides of this. I will try and get the screen off in one piece. I'm going to take my time tearing this apart, but I want to investigate that third camera, as I said. So we'll be back in a moment. It's indestructible. Alright, we are back. It's still alive. I tried my hardest to destroy it, even just throwing it as hard as I did, and it's fine. So, well done Blackview for making a phone that rugged and durable. That's definitely good. But I will do one more thing. This RGB light. As I showed earlier in some B-roll footage, it's blue, slightly purple, and slightly green. That's all it does. So let's just say we just want to cook it for a little bit. Oh, I think I'm out of gas. That's sad. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that then. Let's just say it'll survive the burn test anyways. It was fairly hot in Australia today, so I've had to put the fan on in my office. So if you can hear that sort of droning noise in the background, that's what it is. How do we tear this down? That's the question. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to pull the screen off. There's no sort of questions about it. But I could... Nah, I was going to say I could slip the pry tool in between the orange frame and sort of try and leverage it off, but I don't think that's going to work. As I said, I want to keep this phone working. So I'm going to try my absolute hardest to keep it in that state. But the back definitely doesn't come off. It's all one solid piece. The mistake I made on the AGM H3, the back cover comes off, but no, this is screen. That needs to come off. I did give it a slight dint there. That was obviously from one of the aggressive throws. It's got a little scuffed up, but no, that's all good. Let's heat up the screen then. I'm going to take my time taking this apart. I'm going to heat it up nice and hot and just use a suction cup to try and lift it up, and then we'll... Don't know how the clock just opened then. And then we'll see how we go. There's no teardown guides either. I could have asked Blackview about a teardown guide because I'm not too sure where the flex ribbons are located, most likely at the bottom, but we'll see how we go. We'll just wait for the LCD to burn in like so, see if it recovers, and straight away, that's no problems because this is an IPS LCD. There'll be no dramas with that. So now we got to just be careful and try and find a leveraging point. I've been trying for like 5 minutes now, and it's not budging. I'll keep going, I'll keep heating it. Well, the earpiece can come out, I can tell you that. And that noise was from the glass cracking. I don't know how thick this glass is, but whatever they've done, it's stuck in there. I don't know any other way that this could be possibly taken apart. I've tried to go at this orange frame, but this orange frame is the whole entire thing, so it's the screen that has to come off first. I don't think there's any other way that this glass is going to come off in one piece. I think we're going to have to unfortunately sacrifice the screen. I've put as much heat as I can on this to try and lift off the screen. I can't get a leveraging point underneath this glass to actually start to, you know, lift it up and put a plastic piece under there to start going around the display. It's just sort of almost impossible. I do have one tool that I know is possibly going to do the job, but it's likely going to kill the entire phone. But this will just at least give me a little bit of leveraging to go straight for the display. Okay. Oh. Yeah, see at the top there, it's all damaged, but they've definitely used very good glass protection, I'll tell you that. But I'll heat up the top again. The display is dead, and it's doing ghost touches now. I can't really do anything about it. I tried, I'm sorry. I'm going to power it off, because this is going to be quite brutal. I just broke my suction cup. This is just so tough. Well, also we needed to sort of take the screen off to get a good look at the heat pipe that's actually built into this. So around the display was this protective material just here, this very, very strong, almost like glue around the whole entire display. That's why it wasn't budging. And yeah, there you go. But the glass is thick on it though. There you go. The LCD itself is quite thin, but the glass is very reinforced. If I looked on AliExpress, there's probably some replacement displays, fairly cheap. I could always ask Blackview to send me one, possibly. Now that we've got it open finally, let's continue on and go deeper into this phone. But this definitely was the intended way to get into the phone, because we've got all the screws around the mid plate there. Just want to clarify how deep the screen was into this phone. It's like a very, very tough glue that they've put around here to ensure that nothing's going to happen to this display and no one can get into it. And well, they were absolutely right. I'm not going to slice up the copper vapor chamber. With all the screws removed, we should be able to just pop the mid frame off. There we go. And we are in. That's where the heat pipe communicates with the processor, which they've put a dollop of thermal paste just on there like so. But that is a very big heat pipe, and for a gaming phone, that is more than enough, so they've done quite well with that. It still did get quite warm while testing gaming, but not blistering hot though, so that is definitely doing something there, so that is very good to see. And they did say that in the advertising. Take some of the flex ribbons off first, and the battery has this metal casing over it, which actually says that it's a 5,280 milliamp hour battery, but yet it said that it was 4,980 on the listing, so not too sure what happened there. No, just checking on the website, it does say 4,980 milliamp hours, so you get extra battery life with this, so that's kind of good. The battery comes out of the phone easy enough. But if I take this top layer off though, and have a look at the battery itself, I wonder if it says anything different. So they've actually put thermal paste inside of this, which is quite strange. I've never seen that before, but yeah, there's thermal paste in between this metal frame and the battery. Taking off all of the adhesive that was holding this metal frame down to the battery, we do have some information on the battery just there, and I'll Google this and see what this comes back with. But hey, if they give you a bigger battery life than they advertise, I guess that's pretty good then. At the bottom we do have the antennas for the 5G, just at the left and right sides there, so I'll pull all this out. Taking the bottom PCB off, we can see the USB Type-C port and the two flex ribbons that are just dangling off there, but yep, these here would likely be for the 5G antennas that are built into this, and we did pick up 5G, so that is all good to see there. The loudspeaker is this pretty big one here, which was quite a beefy speaker, and if you did see the BV5500 Pro video, that speaker also done fairly well, so Blackview is pretty good with their speakers. There is some waterproof mesh applied just down the bottom there where the speaker grill is, as well as the little gasket that was on the loudspeaker. This little piece here appears to be the RGB LED. This is all it is. If we were to lift this up, which is the NFC pad, that just then communicates with this little piece of clear plastic, which then shines through there. So that is your RGB LED, that little tiny thing there, which we didn't actually see RGB, we just seen blue, green and purple. That's about it. But now it's finally time to take a look at the motherboard itself. There is some water that did get in there though. I don't know how that would have got in. One of the cameras did come off the back there, so I'll just put that to the side for now. But our earpiece is actually located just at the top, just there like so, which is quite unusual to see it positioned that way, but it did work, so that's all good. And now taking this plastic shroud off the back of the motherboard reveals our secondary camera that we need to look at. So I'll just put that to the side. On this plastic shroud we do have a secondary microphone as well as the LED flash and the coin style vibration motor. So there is our ultra wide camera just there. It does have some codes on it. Our main sensor is this one here with no optical image stabilization. It just had EIS. The front camera, which only recorded in 720p, is just this little guy just here. And as for the motherboard itself, yeah, it's got some copper tape, the thermal paste, a lot of connections for the antennas and all that sort of stuff. There's about 4 or 5 antenna wires that go around this phone that just sort of snake everywhere. That's pretty much the motherboard. It's all actually looking quite sophisticated at this point in time. But now, this unknown camera right here. This is pulled directly out of the Blackview. We do have a code located on this, which I'm going to show you now. Here you go. That is the code right there. But I'm now going to take the plastic lens off this, and we're going to see what this is. And mind you, if we put that camera right there, it makes it look like, you know, that's a fairly big sensor. But then you take it off and it's only a little tiny thing like that. I'm really hoping that this is a legitimate camera, but only time will tell. Here we go. And there it is. We have a dud camera in this $400 phone. Why has Blackview decided to put a fake camera in a $400 device? There is no sensor whatsoever on there. This is the exact same thing we've seen in the BV5500 Pro, which was a budget device, which, you know, a fake camera in that, it is what it is. But on a device like this, why not use that space there for an actual telephoto camera or something of that nature, instead of just going, well, we'll just stick a fake camera in there and call it a day. I don't think Blackview actually thought that I was going to tear this down, but I'm going to have to ask them about that. Why are they including fake cameras in their phones? I don't know. How many other phones that are made by Blackview are they doing the exact same thing to? If this is a $400 phone, you'd expect to get, you know, what you pay for, 3 cameras. But you get 2 and a dud one that does absolutely nothing, which is very unfortunate to see. But that is pretty much the comprehensive teardown of the BL5000. I think I've shown everything I need to. I just want to also reiterate how tough this casing is. So, as I said, build quality is good with this, but I think we've got to jump into the conclusion and talk about this phone and my thoughts about this, and we'll conclude this video. Same thing as on the Blackview BV5500. That little tiny lens, nothing. With the phone pretty much reassembled just without the mid-frame being attached, as I wanted to try the RGB light out once again, which is still exactly the same, but I think we need to go into the conclusion and discuss my thoughts about this phone. As a quick summary, if you want a phone that's going to hold up in the durability department, can play games with decent performance, and includes 5G, at the asking price, it's not a bad deal. However, if you favour something that's better in the camera department, a screen with a higher refresh rate, and possibly a headphone jack, you may want to check out the OnePlus Nord CE or one of Xiaomi's Poco offerings for around the same price. While those phones are built well, they won't withstand the abuse that this phone ended up receiving. But in a detailed explanation of this phone, its asking price isn't too bad, but there are a few flaws with this phone. However, the positives which I want to point out first though, is the build quality is exceptional. Blackview put a great effort into making sure this phone is rugged, and while I only submerged it and kind of threw it, I'm sure it would survive in other scenarios as well. And as for destroying the screen, well, that was kind of the only way inside of the phone, as it was pretty much just fused to the frame of this phone. But speaking of the screen though, that also wasn't too bad in this phone, but it could have been better. Performance wise, this held up quite well in gaming. It doesn't have a top tier MediaTek Dimensity processor, but with its configuration, it will be fine with games as it was intended. Don't expect everything to run at 60 FPS with this though. You may have to bump down some settings ever so slightly. With this heat pipe that's built into the phone also, the phone will still get warm while playing intensive games of course, but just not as much as other devices without this. The 5G reception was excellent, picking it up in my area straight away at almost full strength is something I honestly don't see too often. I would have tested the speeds of 5G, however I didn't put any data on my SIM card, but with seeing all the antennas inside of this phone, which is quite a lot of them, I can assume that it will be no problems. Battery life was also great. With 5G and Wi-Fi on, I did get a solid 92 hours standby out of it, and possibly could have gotten a bit more, so no problems there. That battery drain I did experience earlier appeared to just be a one-off thing, as during the gaming test it held up quite well. Also, you get a bigger battery inside the phone, which that itself is a bonus. Not sure how Blackview could have messed up their own battery capacity, but saying less on their sites and listing more inside of the actual phone, hey, I'm not complaining. This is a good thing. And also, the 30-watt fast charging worked quite well, and I had no issues with that also. The cameras are okay. Ultra-wide performance was probably the best out of the setup. We also got some reasonably good shots out of the main sensor, but they aren't top tier as I mentioned. The side-mounted fingerprint sensor works great and unlocked the phone before I was even able to press the button down, and personally, I do like side-mounted fingerprint sensors. It just makes more sense than them being built onto the back, and the optical ones sometimes work and don't work for me. Finally, the bottom-firing speaker pumps out some decent sound, and for its intended purpose, even taking away the gaming aspect, it definitely is something worth mentioning. Now the downsides of this phone. Even though it's meant to be pure stock Android, it does have some bloatware installed, but luckily it can be uninstalled easy enough. This isn't really a downside though, as there are some decent preloaded apps on there, but if you want pure stock out of the box, it is a bit bogged down with the themes and all that sort of thing. Being advertised as a gaming phone, the first things that do come to mind for me anyways, are stereo speakers and a screen with a high refresh rate, which this phone lacks. If this was able to use the earpiece as a secondary speaker and put in a 90Hz display, then I'd be more happy with the final product. Some of Xiaomi's even cheaper phones have 90Hz displays, but the budget of this phone seems to have gone into making it more rugged and the gaming aspect coming in second. No headphone jack or microSD card expansion, which is also a bit of a downside, but since this is the trend with smartphones nowadays, it was kind of to be expected. The RGB light was only B. It could have been a setting, but I tried multiple ways for it to be different colors, but we are stuck with what we have. In the camera department though, it is pretty lackluster all up. I can give credit to the ultra-wide camera once again for its pretty wide angle. The main sensor can do some decent shots, as already mentioned, but overall they could have been improved. The cameras were a big part of Blackview's advertising for this phone, however they just felt like a bit of a letdown in the end. If you do use a third-party application, as I mentioned in the camera talk, then you could probably get a bit more quality out of them, but with the stock camera app, they kind of are what they are. The front camera isn't too bad, but 720p video only. Once again, it is what it is. But the one thing that bothers me about this phone, the one thing, is this dud camera. I just don't understand why Blackview included it. They don't advertise it except for that one mention of it in the AliExpress listing as a macro camera, but that advertising does show 3 cameras on this phone, and this isn't the first time that they've done this. With the BV5500 Pro, I think it was, that I looked at last year, that was a budget rugged phone and it had one. This is a $400 phone with a fake camera. That space could have been used to put a telephoto camera, or the spacing / budget could have went on to including a secondary loudspeaker, or just making one of the main sensors slightly bigger. At least Xcode admitted to putting decorative cameras on their phones, so I'm gonna have to ask Blackview why they've included this on the phone and see what they say, and if I hear anything back, I'll put an update in the description as well as the pinned comment. If the next model included a screen with a high refresh rate, a secondary loudspeaker, the dud camera being replaced by something else, and the cameras being slightly tweaked, then this would be a pretty good 5G rugged gaming phone. But unfortunately, with its flaws, the market for smartphones at the moment is just almost endless, and at $400, picking up a Xiaomi or OnePlus device may just be a better option. But ultimately, it comes down to what you, as the consumer, want in a phone. This one comes close to being a winner, but it does kind of start to slow down before the finish line. And that is it. That is my complete comprehensive review on the Blackview BL5000 5G rugged gaming phone. I hope I've covered absolutely everything that I needed to within this review as both a consumer and reviewer. If I have missed anything though, please let me know down in the comments. However, I really can't do much else now since it kind of doesn't have a display, but that's okay though. I might try and source a screen from AliExpress or see if Blackview wants to send me a replacement screen. We'll see what happens. But if you've also made it to the end without using the timestamps, you are a true champion, so thank you for that. But if you use the timestamps though, that's okay. That's why they're there. Because the duration of my videos are quite lengthy, I include the timestamps so you can just skip along to wherever you need to be if you want to just jump straight to the conclusion, or the teardown, or the camera test, whatever you want to jump to, it's all listed in the timestamps. Otherwise, a massive thank you to Blackview for sending this sample out to me for a review. I really do appreciate it as always, as well as them being understanding with taking my 2-week hiatus. I was having a rough time and they allowed the extra time for me to complete this review as in-depth as possible. And if you do want to check this phone out, there are links down in the description below. They are not affiliate links and I will not earn anything if you click them or purchase the phone. They are just simply there for your convenience. I also will clarify that I was not paid by Blackview or AliExpress or anyone for doing this review. The sample was simply sent out to me for review and that's what I have done. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you all so much for watching this. I always appreciate it, and I will also thank everyone for the outpouring of support I received when I announced that I was taking my 2-week hiatus. I was going through creators burnout, and combined with this horrible lockdown, I just needed that break. And from now on, I'll continue on and keep making content as best as I can, and hope that everyone will continue to appreciate and enjoy the work that goes into these videos. I am feeling a lot better now, and I'm excited to continue making content for everyone. A very special shout out once again to Troy Van here for his generous donations during my live streams. Thank you for supporting the channel and my work, and I appreciate it so much. And that goes to all the others who donate during my live streams. Just know that each one means a lot to me, and it shows how much support this channel has, which it's definitely come a long way over the years, that's for sure. Thank you so much once again, everyone. I really do appreciate it. As always, take care, stay safe, be good people, and I'll see you all in the next video, which will be likely another in-depth phone review, so expect another 1 hour plus video from me. Take care everyone, and I'll see you then.
If you like this content, feel free to leave a like or a dislike if you didn't. Thanks heaps for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.